Hey guys, it's Bob and I'm back with another video. In this one, I'm going to be reviewing the Ugee UE12. They have sent it me for free to review, and I was happy to test it out, given that I can make a honest review. If you've seen my other reviews, you will know that that is the case. Here's a quick view of the front and back of the box with the technical information. Here is the page to purchase on Ugee's website. So for people in the US, this is usually $189 and in the UK, £171. I seem to have caught them in a sale, so the prices on my screenshots are lower. I'll be putting a link to purchase the tablet down in the description and also in the pinned comment, along with the code BABANIllustration10, which will get you 10% off your purchase. Here's what the tablet looks like set up on my desk. First off, I appreciate that the wire and connection is over to the side and not somewhere that is jutting directly out of the screen. You also have the little loop to keep your pen in at the bottom, though it isn't very secure. I do appreciate that that is added. There are 2 buttons on the pen itself that you can set your own shortcuts to, and 8 buttons on the tablet itself. Oh, there's 11 actually, because if I turn the top of the tablet up, you can see there's an on button to turn it on, and also a plus and minus, which allows you to adjust the brightness on the screen. Okay, so let's get into some drawing, and I'll add in the unboxing with that so you can see what comes in the package. One of the stipulations for this review from Ugee was that I don't mention any other tablet brands or tablets from other brands. I reviewed another Ugee tablet, so I may mention that, but what I'm gonna do is talk about my criteria for what I look for in a tablet and how this compares to that, because that applies to every tablet that I look at, regardless of brand. For some context, I've been playing around with digital art and tablets for around 15 years and doing that professionally for about 10 of those. Anyway, we're starting off with some footage of me drawing on the tablet. This is me drawing my silly OC Skelby dressed up as Miku in Miku. She wears people skin. I have a comic. There's links in the description and up the top. I work a lot in this more simplified, smooth, quite solid line art style that I've developed over the years, and it's very easy to see if I start having issues with something like this on a tablet. I do work in other styles too, but the levels of pen pressure that a tablet is able to achieve is my main concern with this, because I usually use one size for the pen and I will have the pen pressure be what creates the line width. Because I like to keep my pen at the same size and have the only thing that's making the line width vary be the pen pressure that I'm applying. I haven't had any issue with the pen pressure on this at all. There is also a small settings pane that you'll get when you download the drivers for this and get it installed, that you'll see in a second when I bring it up to adjust as I'm drawing and getting into the line art. I have quite happily been able to modulate the pen pressure that I use on this thing, and either heavier or lighter, and being able to adjust that is very easy. I'll slow this down here so you can see the settings panes, so it's easy to test your pen pressure, move the pen pressure curves so that it will behave differently with the amount of pressure that you put on. You can also add in shortcuts for the buttons that we have over at the side that you can see, and the 2 that are on the pen. So I input some of my usual shortcuts into those, and it made it quite easy to use. I also have by default on them, which I didn't change, the top 2 with the plus and the minus, and the bottom 2 with the plus and the minus, which allow me to adjust the pen size and the zoom. Rolling into my next point, I want to combine the buttons and the size of the tablet. So you do need to plug this tablet into a computer to be able to use it. I think you may also be able to plug this into your phone. So you're always going to be tethered to something using this. You can't pick it up and walk around freely. It is not its own computer that you can use. It is a pen tablet you attach to a device. However, because it's small and lightweight, I imagine you could quite happily sit just off to the side in a comfy little chair in the bed, rotate this thing around. You've still got those shortcut buttons without needing to reach for a keyboard or anything. So if you're someone who likes to draw in your lap, maybe, or rest this somewhere other than where you're stuck to the desk, it might be a good option for you. I will mention it did not come with a stand. I have been using this flat on the desk because there is nothing that is provided with it in what I was given to prop the screen up, anything other than flat on the desk, or however you decide to hold it. I do find this very uncomfortable because it means you are going to be hunching over the desk. They could maybe include just a very simple stand that you can pop into place to get more of a comfortable angle. After drawing on this for a little while, I can definitely feel the neck strain starting to set in. I actually had to prop it up on a book to be able to continue using it. Another thing I take into serious consideration is the size of the screen. On this, it is 11.6 inches and it is full HD. So the resolution is in some way going to dictate how big the menus appear on my screen, and they don't take up too much on this because it is smaller, but because I work on projects that need continuity or I draw the same characters repeatedly, I need to have space on this screen to include references over to the left so they are not in the way of my hand and my canvas that I'm currently working on. Now, trying to squeeze them in on this, they do get quite small, but it is possible. I've not been able to do that on some smaller ones. And if I wasn't able to suitably fit in my small reference panels over to the side, that would be criteria for me to resign this to only sketching. I know some people like to have their references on a separate screen, but personally, I need them next to what I'm drawing, and to be able to have a big sheet that I can move around and compare directly next to what I'm drawing. Which, like I say, they are smaller, but it hasn't really been a problem. Maybe if I needed more complex references with more small details that I would have to take the time to zoom in and out of more, I wouldn't use a tablet like this for something like that. But for these more simple designs, it is quite suitable for that. I don't think you'd have an issue working on something similar to my comic on this tablet. I think I would recommend this maybe to someone who was starting out, wanted to do some small projects for themselves, maybe something where you don't need that many complex references to be shown on the same screen. If you're not a fan of being stuck at the desk drawing, if you'd like to be able to carry this around with you and sit in different places, obviously still tethered to the device that it's connected to. Maybe if you have a laptop that you take to different places to carry around, you could take this out with you, carry it quite easily, it's not too heavy. I think I would recommend this for someone who wanted to either just sketch, draw simple things, maybe do a small project similar to the ones that I've done, or even if you wanted to do larger scale ones that didn't require very complex references be visible. Some other things I wanted to mention too is when I first put this on to start drawing it, it seems as though the screen has got this nice matte texture to it, which does help to disperse the light. There isn't really much glare from this thing at all. It's quite comfortable on the eyes to use. I usually have issues with shiny, glary screens just on any kind of tech in general. I don't like them at all. I always bend my neck to get away from the shine. But I'll try and include some footage of the issue that I did have, and I think this texture on the screen actually affects the way that the light comes up through the screen, and it's quite hard to see and record because of the way everything strobes. But when I look at the screen, when I move my head, it's almost like there is a moving static because of the way the light is coming up through this matte texture and dispersing the light through the screen. Dancing haze of static is nice, both for dispersing the light, making sure there's no glare, and also for the way that the pen feels, in the light into all different directions as it's coming up through it, and it is making it look as though there is a texture over everything on the screen. And when I move my head, it changes a little bit, so it looks like static that's moving. It could be that they need to make this texture maybe less rough because it's clearly the different sort of facets and very tiny angles on this that is making that light bounce just everywhere. So everything I look at has this hazy fuzz to it. Another thing I need to mention also is that the first tablet I was sent actually did not work. There was some sort of technical issue where the pen was not registering properly, even after installing all of the drivers correctly, deleting any old drivers that could have interfered with it, and it just was not working. So I sent some videos of the issue to Ugee. We tried to troubleshoot what the issue could have been, went through those steps and couldn't seem to find a fix for it. They did send me another one free of charge, and then once I got that one set up, it worked straight away. I reset all the drivers again to make sure that it would work, reinstalled them, and I had no issues with it straight off the bat. It worked fine. But that first one had, we suspect, some sort of damage, and I'm not sure that that was due to any of the shipping, because that first one was packed very well. It was packed in more boxes than the second one that I received. And there we go, we're done. Overall, I don't think this is a bad little tablet. My first tablet that I bought was around the same price, but it was not a screen tablet, so I would think this is a pretty good way to start out if you are looking for a screen tablet as your first tablet. Or if you're looking to get into screen tablets and want one that isn't too expensive, especially with the sales that they seem to have going on with this, and you can get that extra 10% off with the code they've given me, I really don't think this is a bad option. The link to purchase this is available down in the description and in the pinned comment, along with the Babana Illustration 10 code that you can use to get 10% off. I'll also put a link to my playlist of other reviews and my Skelby comic. Thank you for watching, bye bye!